We today are with Luke Giorgio, who is a motivational speaker and works with young people in school. Can you tell me some of the things you do when you go into schools?
Yeah, sure. So when we go into schools, we normally work on a 6-week programme looking at raising achievement with young people that have often been affected by gang culture or disaffected students. So we're looking to raise their aspirations and inspire them to achieve better and reach their max potential.
Okay, so what you can see on the screen now is a programme that we've delivered in a school in North London, where we've gone in for 6 weeks and delivered six different modules, looking to raise achievement in the school. The pupils that we worked with were disadvantaged, some had problems with going into gangs, some just had lack of focus, and a lot of them lacked self-esteem and confidence. So we done a questionnaire with them before and after, and looked at some key attributes like their attitude, self-belief, focus, and what we found was that afterwards that they actually had gone up in all these factors after we delivered the programme. So from our point of view, we were really pleased that they felt that they had improved in all these areas. But not only that, we've actually saw a visible improvement in behaviour, within their focus, within their confidence, and the programme ended with them actually coming up to the front of the class and presenting their goals to the rest of the group. So it was really rewarding for us to see that.
I believe you use 6 steps in this. Can you tell me what they are?
So the first step that we look at is Carol Dweck's fixed and growth mindset. So we're looking at really helping the students understand the difference between the two and to help them have a growth mindset, to believe that they can fail at things and go again and achieve what they want to achieve. So the second step that we look at is the power of focus. Now that's twofold. That's the first one is looking at what you focus on, you attract into your life, you focus it on enough. And the second part of that is just focusing in lesson, in class, so making sure that your attention is what the teacher is saying. So the third step that we look at is raising your standards. Now we've all got different standards in our life, and for young people it's really important that they raise their standards so they can raise the quality of their life and the results that they can achieve. So step number 4 is taking 100% responsibility. So I know specifically for me when I was younger, we like to blame people and blame things for our circumstances. So taking 100% responsibility allows you to be in control of your life rather than be the victim. Step 5 is the compound effect. So we look at taking a big idea, a big goal, and breaking it down into smaller steps, small things that you can do every single day to achieve your dream. So step number 6 is goal mapping. We look at what young people want, why they want it, and then look at how they're going to get there and who can help them. But most importantly, setting a time on that so they know how long it's going to take to achieve it.
Why do you think this project is so successful?
First and foremost, I really believe in the project. So I think when you believe in something, it helps humongously because you're passionate about it. So you're more likely to spend all your waking time thinking about how you can improve and develop it. And secondly, I think that connecting with young people and speaking to them on a level which they understand and having practical examples that they can relate to is really, really important. And the messages that we're giving are positive messages of aspiration and that they can achieve more. So I think young people, they naturally inherently want more and to achieve more. So I think this resonates with them.
Can you tell me, what's the personal passion behind you having this work with young people?
So for me, it's something I wanted to do for a long time, but it's only until 2 years ago when I had quite a severe car crash that really inspired me to then go and achieve my dreams, because I didn't want to live with regrets, because I knew that I nearly died. So I didn't want to then think, well, what if? And I think for me that's the worst thing, is having regrets. So going out and achieving my dream, fulfilling my vision of what I want to see in the world. For me it was a really hard time. Now every morning I wake up, I say a prayer to say thank you that I'm here, and it's a real humbling experience to go through something like that. So although it was a hard time for me, it was also a blessing, because I wouldn't have set this up and I wouldn't be speaking to young people and helping them if that hadn't have happened.
If you were going to give one piece of advice to a teenager, what would you want to say to them?
So if I was to give one piece of advice to a teenager or a young person, I'd give 2. So the first one would be to not have any regrets. So follow your passions and go wholeheartedly at them, because we've only got one life, and please, please, please don't wait for you to have a car crash for then you to pursue your dream. And the second piece of advice is a lot of young people I work with try so hard to fit in, and you can't ever realise how special you are and stand out if you're constantly trying to fit in. So follow your dreams, follow your passions, and stand out. Yeah, you don't have to fit in. So another one of my big passions is working with young aspiring footballers. So I'm really fortunate that I get to coach in a Premier League academy at the moment. So I would like what I do off the pitch to inspire them on the pitch as well, and take my coaching ability to the next level. So to find more information about Max Potential, please go on to our website, which is www.maxpotentiallife.com, and that is spelled MAXPOTENTIAL, and then life, LIFE.com.
Thank you, Luke, for such an inspiring interview. I'm sure so many young people from so many backgrounds, Afro-Caribbean, Asian, Eastern European, will have benefited from hearing your life story and what you're doing and working in schools.
Thank you, Ruth. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It is nice to be back in London. It's so peaceful. This is another part of my life, helping Ukrainian soldiers who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder.
Hello and welcome to the latest Good News Television exclusive. We're here today with Galina Berkostroff in her Harley Street homeopathic clinic, and she is talking about how she still helps soldiers from her homeland to overcome post-traumatic stress disorder. And I'm here with the wonderful Giulietta as well.
Hello everybody. So, how you get involved to work with Ukrainian soldiers?
In my practice, I work a lot with some degree of post-traumatic stress, and as a secretary of Ukrainian Medical Association in the United Kingdom, we help a lot Ukrainian army. Before prescribing, I ask my patients about history of the trauma and the present condition, and then I give homeopathic remedies in forms of pills or drops that are very easy to take.
So can you tell me of a practical example of how your clinic works?
Yes, I would like to introduce you to my patient, Ukrainian veteran Alexander Baranetsky.
And I met a lot of people who been in this sort of environment, and they too carry their mental scars, which are the sign of PTSD. But personally, I have never met a person who ever admits that he has PTSD. Again, I've met a lot of people who carry different form of PTSD. Some of them experience nightmare, some of them experience rage, some of them is shut down, and I know quite a few people who actually commit suicide. In my experience, I actually elevated by fighting. I'm sick in fighting. I love fighting, and I find this is the biggest form of excitement for me. And nothing will ever come close the defeat in terms of defeating when the tank shooting at you and you shooting a tank, and this couple of seconds, which is like you see who gets whom. Or I held the man who's dying in my hand. That doesn't bother me, because I live as I explained it to you before. My consciousness is clear. I sleep like a baby. I have no problem. I don't smoke. I don't take any form of I don't know, stimulant. But in the same way, to me it's the biggest drug in the world, and I'm sick. And you're gonna have to be present. You have to do this, and you psych yourself up. And another thing what's happened to me during this period of time, you don't get ill, you don't get nothing. It's only when you come off the flight that everything starts to ache. You find like, oh, you haven't slept, you haven't eaten. But during this period of time, you are elevated.
My patient doesn't think he has a problem. I believe he does. Any soldiers coming from the war zone have physical and emotional impact. during the treatment, I investigate this and find the right remedies to treat it. My patient loves war. He's addicted to this adrenal rush, to trying to prove himself as a macho man. I believe he needs a balance between this state of being in a war zone and family life. Alexander, please tell me, what do you expect from the treatment, from homeopathic treatment?
Being a family man, most recently I've been only talking about going back to war, and to be honest, it has put pressure on my wife, on my children, because all I do is checking the news and thinking if it's offensive gonna happen, if it is, and I'm definitely gonna jump on the plane. I'm gonna tell my family it's gonna be a force majeure situation, I have to be present there. Constantly in touch with my friends and begging for the news that says, is it fighting intensified, do you need my help? And secretly praying is really going to go and kick off.
I feel he lost his confidence because he's not the man he was a few years ago, strong, physically strong, emotionally strong. I think the war affected him not only on a physical level, the injuries and damaged limbs. I think the war affected him on an emotional level too. I think we need to work on how to learn for him to love his family. I think he is a very good man, he wants to do it, but probably he's a bit lost and he forgot how to do it. Well, Alexander, I think what I can help you with my treatment is, well, obviously, first of all, with all your physical problems. Homeopathic remedies are fantastic treating traumas, physical traumas. And also, I think we need to work on kind of getting you back into the normal life, to your family, as you said, that because they're always in that state of waiting, maybe something happened. I think maybe, I don't want to cure you from your adrenal excitement and adrenal addiction, but I think make you maybe more balanced, that you can actually control it and you can actually feel comfortable in both states.
Today, Good News Television deals with how Jenny Cashman Wilson dealt with the sudden death of her husband, musician Abram Wilson, and created a musical foundation for children in his honour. Reporters on this are Jenny Donaldson and Ian Pelham-Turner.
Jenny, how did you and Abram first meet?
Abram and I first met. Well, I first came across Abram on a YouTube video actually because I'd been asked in for an interview at this jazz label / education organisation, jazz education organisation, and so I was doing some research, and he was one of the artists that was involved with this organisation and signed to the label, and one of their educators. And I remember watching the video of him on stage at this festival with this big band of musicians and this gospel choir, and just sort of having this feeling that he was gonna play a part in my life, but I sort of didn't really know how yet. And then I went for my job interview, and I was waiting to be sort of called in, and out of one of the offices came this beautiful young man with dreads and this scarf around his head, bandana around his head, and a tracksuit top zipped up, and this trumpet slung over his back, and in his kind of leather case, and of course it was Abram.
Jenny, you obviously went through a very traumatic time in your life after Abram died. What gave you the strength to carry on? And really, how has this new foundation created a really major part of your life now?
So in terms of like what gave me the strength to carry on, I think death is quite a difficult thing for us to deal with and to talk about. I think, you know, in this country, our culture doesn't necessarily lend itself to expressing how we feel all the time. But I think Abram was a very life-affirming person. He was a very positive person. I had a very strong relationship with him. We worked together. We were life partners. We were best friends. We lived together. And I think, I just felt very strongly that, he'd had such an impact during his relatively short life through his music and through his education work. I felt very strongly that I wanted to carry that on in some way. And I think in terms of the foundation and how it sort of plays an important part in my life, I mean, it kind of is my life, really. So I set up the foundation after Abram passed away, and it was really, to create something in memory of him, but not only just in memory of him, but to sort of continue his legacy and the work that we'd been doing together. Because I was managing his career before he passed away, and I felt really strongly that that work that we had created as a partnership should continue in some way. And so,
Jenny, what type of children are you helping, and what kind of support are you looking for in the future?
So the type of children that we work with are young people between the ages of 11 to 16. So we're very interested in working with young people who've made that transition from primary school to secondary school. So in terms of supporting the Abram Wilson Foundation, in terms of getting involved, we've recently launched an individual giving campaign where we're asking people to support the foundation by becoming a regular donor. And we call our regular donors trailblazers. You can check out what we do on our website. So that's abramwilson.com, abramwilson.com. We're on Twitter at Abram Wilson. We're on Facebook, Abram Wilson Foundation, or you can email us team@abramwilson.com.
Jenny, can I ask you, what do you think jazz music brings into someone's life? Is it soul? Is it happiness? Is it thoughtfulness of others? What do you think it really establishes into someone's personality?
Yeah, that's a really good question, big question. What does jazz bring into somebody's life? For me, it's an awful lot of joy, but I think, jazz musicians over the years have referred to jazz music as social music.
Jenny, if you were to give one piece of advice on how to overcome adversity, what would it be?
Good question. I'm not sure if I'm the expert in answering how to overcome adversity, because obviously we all have our different trials and tribulations, but from my personal experience, I think trying to remain positive and surrounding yourself with good people who you trust, who have your best interests at heart, and who you really feel you can rely on, is probably my best advice, I think.